Today, the Federal Reserve saying it won't tighten monetary policy despite rapidly rising prices. It's blaming supply chain problems, not its own policies. McDonald's says Korean pop group BTS contributed a lot to their strong quarter. Hear what the CEO has to say about the boy band. And language learning app Duolingo debuts on Wall Street today. Its shares rose nearly 40%. Why is the stock so hot? That and much more coming up in NTD Business. Good evening. Great to have you with us. I'm Paul Graney. Despite prices rising at an accelerating pace, the Federal Reserve isn't going to tighten monetary policy for the foreseeable future. At a press conference following a high-level meeting today, once again, the Federal Reserve chairman made no reference to the possibility its bond buying program and low interest rate policy could be a primary driver of rising prices. He once again blamed supply chain problems.
Supply bottlenecks in some sectors have limited how quickly production can respond in the near term. These bottleneck effects have been larger than anticipated, but as these transitory supply effects abate, inflation is expected to drop back toward our longer-run goal.
Powell is right that some sectors are facing supply bottlenecks, but it doesn't explain why prices are rising pretty much everywhere in the economy, including the stock market and housing market. Since the pandemic began, the Fed has allowed the number of dollars in circulation to increase by more than 30%. Much of that was injected by the Fed into the financial markets through its bond purchasing program. During that time, the stock market hit multiple record highs, as did the real estate market. Billionaire wealth grew by over 39%, while those without stocks and property get hurt by a continually devaluing dollar. But the Fed says it's still not time to reduce its asset purchases.
Today, the Federal Open Market Committee kept interest rates near zero and maintained our asset purchases. These measures, along with our strong guidance on interest rates and on our balance sheet, will ensure that monetary policy will continue to support the economy until the recovery is complete.
Another driver of inflation is government deficits and borrowing. But despite that, Senate Republicans have reached a deal with Democrats in a $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill. An evening test vote is now possible.
With respect to infrastructure, senators continue to make good progress on both tracks of legislation. Members should be prepared to vote again on cloture on the motion to proceed to the bipartisan infrastructure bill as early as tonight.
The bill will require 60 votes in the Senate to proceed. That would launch a potentially days-long process to consider the bill and any possible amendments. The outcome will set the stage for the next debate over Biden's much more controversial $3.5 trillion spending package. It's strictly a partisan pursuit that Democrats want to push through with or without Republican support. And more companies reporting earnings today. McDonald's had a strong quarter, and it credits not just its new crispy chicken sandwich, but also Korean pop group BTS. McDonald's had successful similar collaborations with rappers like Travis Scott and J Balvin, but neither had been as successful as its BTS promotion. NTD's Olin Richards has more.
McDonald's, the world's largest burger chain, reports revenue of $5.8 billion, of which 42% came from company-operated restaurants and 56% from franchisees. This is an increase from the $3.7 billion it made last year.
Today, about 70% of our dining rooms in the U.S. are open. By Labor Day, barring resurgences, it will be nearly 100%.
Two contributors to its success, the crispy chicken sandwich.
It's the juicy chicken sandwich from the place that offers extra napkins for a reason.
And its famous orders with K-pop group BTS.
I am now trying out the new BTS Famous Order. The chicken nuggets look spectacular.
Famous orders began when McDonald's asked their most famous customers what their go-to McDonald's orders were. It had great success with rappers Travis Scott and J Balvin, but not the level of success it's had with BTS.
It has been, to borrow a BTS lyric, dynamite. We saw significant lifts in McNugget sales and record-breaking levels of social engagement.
Also, McDonald's loyalty program called My McDonald's Rewards, which launched in early July, currently has around 12 million users. The program lets customers acquire points for qualified purchases at McDonald's. and then customers can spend those points on food. Arlene Richards, NTD News.
And Pfizer has raised its 2021 sales forecast for its CCP virus vaccine by 29%. It says people will need a third dose of the shot to keep protection against the virus. The company expects to make $33.5 billion in sales. The emergency use authorization for a booster dose might come as early as August. Pfizer said it shipped over 1 billion doses of the vaccine since December. The company has won new orders as rivals AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson have faced manufacturing and safety hurdles. Vaccine maker Moderna has not been able to scale up production as quickly as Pfizer. And next month, Pfizer and European partner BioNTech plan to test a version of the vaccine specifically designed to take on the fast-spreading Delta variant. And business is good for Boeing, too, turning its first profit in almost 2 years. Despite its production struggles, people still want its planes. NTD's Evelyn Lee with more.
Boeing just reported its first quarterly profit in almost 2 years. Its revenue jumped more than 40% compared to a year earlier. Sales rose and it experienced a surge in deliveries.
And as domestic traffic recovers, we believe we have started to turn a corner from an overall demand perspective. This is reinforced by 5 straight months of positive net commercial airplane orders.
One expert says demand is high because airlines are seeing their chance now to renew their fleet. United's narrow-body fleet, for instance, was on average 20 years old.
I don't think you're going to find a period of time in the near term when pricing for new aircraft gets any better. So for United, it was a great opportunity to update their fleet.
David Nalletti leads the aerospace, defense, and government contractors practice at Conway McKenzie. He says the industry expects that commercial flights will get back on track after the pandemic and continue growing. But there are concerns about the Delta variant. While long-haul travel isn't recovering, it's a different story for short-haul flights. That's reflected in the orders that airlines are placing.
You haven't seen a lot of orders for wide-bodies, and wide-body aircraft production rates are down about 60% versus their peak.
He says concerns about the safety of Boeing aircrafts will be left behind too.
The issues that they're experiencing at Boeing with that are largely a result of bringing a very new type of aircraft to market. The design and manufacturing processes using that airplane are very different from anything they've done in the past. And those issues have largely been rectified or identified.
Sales and deliveries of the 737 MAX picked up again in recent months, which shows airlines' confidence in the plane. But the plane manufacturer is dealing with other quality problems. It disclosed a new issue earlier this month with its 787 Dreamliner, a wide-body jet. Evelyn Lee, NTD News.
And Google parent company Alphabet stock is up more than 3% today. Its revenue and profits surging to record highs in the last quarter, boosted by a rise in advertising spending as more consumers shopped online. Alphabet says total revenue from Google advertising rose nearly 70% from a year ago to a massive $50 billion. Retail brands were the biggest contributor, with travel, financial services, and media and entertainment sectors also strong for the company. Ad revenue for YouTube jumped more than 80% from the same quarter last year. At the same time, Alphabet is facing 4 antitrust lawsuits which aim to force major changes across its business, including advertising and smart home gadgets. Those lawsuits are expected to take years to resolve. And Apple's quarterly results showing its biggest spring quarter profit in the company's 45-year history. Total profit was $21.7 billion in the 3-month period to June, and NTD's Patrick Hayden breaks it down.
Apple's third quarter profits hit the highest level ever. The 45-year-old company has seen record-setting results along with other tech companies.
Today, Apple is reporting a very strong quarter with double-digit revenue growth across our product and services categories and in every geographic segment. We set a new June quarter revenue record of $81.4 billion, up 36% from last year.
Apple's total profit for the quarter was $21.7 billion. It tracked double-digit growth across most of its markets. Especially strong were India, Latin America and Vietnam. Very strong iPhone sales in each geographic segment were reported, and sales of its 5G iPhone 12 lineup were especially strong.
We're only in the early innings of 5G, but already its incredible performance and speed have made a significant impact on how people can get the most out of our technology.
Sales in iPads and Macs excelled, including ones running with Apple's own M1 chip.
Users continue to rely on iPad and Mac to work, learn, create, and connect. iPad had its highest June quarter in nearly a decade, while Mac set an all-time June quarter record.
FactSet analysts say Apple's on track for its best ever fiscal year, which ends in September. Over a year ago, analysts predicted an 11% gain, but now it looks like it'll be closer to a 51% gain. That's if analysts get it right this time. Patrick Hayden, NTD News.
And stocks ended a pretty wobbly day with mixed results today. The Dow slipped 128 points, over 1/3%. S&P 500, little change for the day. The Nasdaq added 102 points, about 0.7%. And language learning app Duolingo made its Nasdaq debut today. Its shares jumped nearly 40%, valuing at about $6.5 billion. Wall Street investors are more and more interested in the education technology space. That's after pandemic restrictions sent students and teachers from the classroom to the web. Online education platform Coursera, for example, gained 15% from its IPO price in March, while another platform, Masterclass, has more than tripled in valuation in a year. The Duolingo app has more than 500 million downloads. It's the top-grossing app in the education category on both Google Play and the Apple App Store. It offers courses in about 40 languages to about 40 million monthly active users. In fact, Duolingo says there are more people learning certain languages like Irish and Hawaiian than there are native speakers of those languages worldwide. There you go. And the CDC is recommending that vaccinated people wear masks indoors again in certain places. So, NTD's Phil Zoe goes to Wall Street to get instant reaction from the people there.
The CDC now recommends people to wear masks indoors in some areas, even if they are vaccinated. We're here in the financial district of New York to find out if workers are coming into the office. Mask on or mask off?
Makes me sad. I would rather not wear it, so.
I don't have a problem with masks.
I think if it's necessary for everybody else, then I'll do it. But I'd rather not because I'm vaccinated.
It's definitely not something that I enjoy, but it's a reality of the current situation.
When you wear a mask too long, it affects your breathing. So that's my problem. That's my dilemma with it. So.
The CDC says it's to protect people from the CCP virus Delta variant. In New York, virus cases are up. But surprisingly, hospitalization is about the same.
Started wearing it back indoor even though I'm vaccinated again. So even though it's been a bit of a really nice reprieve, it feels like it's kind of coming back. The masks are back.
But many people say they really miss having masks off.
You know, hidden, you can't like see people smiling, and it's not much fun, so.
Feels amazing. It feels really good to be out here exploring New York City for the first time and just a breath of fresh air.
It feels great. It feels great. I'm not worried at all.
The CDC says New York City is an area of, quote, substantial transmission. One business owner says his office workers will follow the recommendation and mask up.
And that ends up with a whole group of everyone that works with me. A lot of people, everybody seems to be on the same page.
But just when will the mask mandate and recommendation end?
Probably pretty soon, I would think.
I think that's going to be for another 9 months.
Maybe a few more months, or I hope by the end of the year that it's gone. I hope so.
The way it's going, it looks like it's never going to end. So I hope it ends sooner than later.
New York City's mayor recently said he won't bring back mask mandates. He is requiring all city workers to either get vaccinated or take a CCP virus test every week. Phil Zoe, NTD News.
And mortgage rates dropped to a 6-month low this week, boosting home mortgage applications. The average interest rate for a traditional 30-year mortgage fell to 3.01%. That's its lowest level since February. Mortgage applications are up 5.7% from the week earlier, but refinance applications are mostly behind that. They're up almost 10%. Applications for purchasing homes actually dropped 1.6%. The Mortgage Bankers Association says potential home buyers continue to be put off by extremely high home prices and increased competition. And tie that in with data from earlier in the week that showed the median U.S. home price fell last month and that more houses are coming on the market now. Will we see a housing market cooling off soon? Asked the CEO of Geneva Financial, Aaron von Trojan. Geneva is a multi-award winning mortgage company with over 100 employees.
Well, I would say that 1 month doesn't necessarily make a trend. But yes, the actual NAR just reported numbers that basically showed that home sales were up. Inventory was also up, which would show signs of a potential slowing. Now, they're still year over year up, home sales are up 23%, appreciation's up 25%, and inventory still down nearly 20%, but you're seeing some signs of easing, but that's just June over May. Is that trend going to continue? I personally believe it will, but it's still, again, we still have an inventory problem and demand is high.
Speaking to lenders, is there any particular standout reason why people are buying? We heard a lot at the beginning of the pandemic, people were leaving cities, etc. Is there anything else stand out?
It'll be interesting when the data really settles whether or not there's been a huge exodus from cities. If you look at the fastest appreciating areas in the United States, it's typically in cities. So I don't know if that's really going to hold up to be true. If people are exiting at a high pace, you're not going to see appreciation going through the roof because the demand would have dropped, and that's not what's happening. Other reasons that's causing it, I mean, like I stated, is that anytime you see a substantial drop in interest rates, there's going to be a demand for housing because you're going to be able to qualify for homes, a much larger home than you were able to qualify when the interest rates were higher, and which will spur a lot of people to move up in homes or to potentially buy their first home because now the cost of rent might be greater than what it costs to actually purchase a home. So interest rates, I think, fueled it from the start, and I think that largely had to do with this huge demand to housing was just interest rates. That's not unusual. We see that anytime interest rates hit historic lows, which doesn't happen that often. And then again, the other thing because of the pandemic, the upper class, upper income people had excess capital because they largely weren't as affected, negatively affected as lower income. So they had a lot of money to do something with, and housing was a good place to put it, considering you saw home appreciation. Where are you going to see a 25% return year over year on your money?
And finally, we hear a lot about activity from institutional investors, particularly since the interest rates dropped very low. From hearing from lenders or from your experience, is this the case that institutional investors are pushing up the prices, or do we see still high demand from just the regular buyer?
I don't have the numbers on this, but yes, absolutely, institutional buyers have been heavy in this market and even prior to this market. Some of the big Wall Street firms own, a lot of real estate, and not just commercial, residential real estate. I mean, I believe there was an article a couple months ago where a hedge fund came in and bought out an entire home development. They went to the builder, bought the entire development. So that creates problems, right? That creates problems for the home buyer, the first-time home buyer, because they can't compete at that level with these large institutional investors. And they've been buying up properties at a high rates probably since the collapse. When the collapse in 2008, when you saw the housing market, get annihilated and you saw massive depreciation, institutional investors have been purchasing all along the way. So yes, that does cause problems for the average consumer.
Aaron von Trojan, Geneva Financial. And computer maker Dell has stopped selling some high-end gaming computers in 6 states. It's due to power consumption regulations. For example, if you're in California and want to order a certain Alienware gaming desktop from Dell's website, You won't be able to. A Dell spokesman told the Register the ban relates to California's Tier 2 energy efficient standards. To be in compliance, desktop computers made after July 1st must consume less than 75 kilowatt hours per year. In 2016, California became the first state to approve energy efficiency standards for computers and monitors. Orders bound for Colorado, Hawaii, Oregon, Vermont, or Washington will also be cancelled. Dell says the product also can't be shipped to those states because of power consumption regulations. And we've talked about Beijing's recent crackdowns on the tech and education sectors. Now investors are worried that the health sector will be next. NTD's Patrick Hayden looks into it.
Investors have rushed to divest from China's health sector. They fear that Beijing's crackdown in tech and education will hit the medical industry next. Medical expenses are one of the key areas Beijing is targeting for social change. In turn, that's heightened expectation that the healthcare market will soon be reformed. China's healthcare index dropped by about 13% over the past week as selling was fierce. That trend could likely continue, as some analysts say China is facing the biggest ideological shift since then CCP leader Deng Xiaoping initiated economic reforms 40 years ago. Medical companies with tech overlap have dropped the most so far, with GenScript Biotech losing up to 36% of its value in 5 days. China's health sector is vast, comprising defense service providers, pharmaceuticals, and fast-growing tech and biotech firms. The cost of medical treatments in the country remains high, and quality of service is also an issue. That's even though it's been supported by rising public and private spending. Patrick Hayden, NTD News.
Still to come this evening. A big Olympic letdown for Tokyo's small businesses. What do local business owners have to say about the ban on foreign visitors? That and more after this short break.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. For example, you get my 6-piece towel sets, regular $109.99, now only $44.98, or MyPillow dog beds for as low as $19.99 with your promo code.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Secure, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. Secure is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. Secure is 100% private and does not collect or sell any of your personal data. Secure's Helix technology connects you securely to our Swiss servers without the need of a VPN, guaranteeing privacy and security for all your communications. Secure Messenger doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. Chat by Invites allows you to chat privately and securely with anyone outside of your secure network without the need for others to download Secure. Secure Send offers you a private and secure way to email anyone outside of Secure. You won't find this level of privacy or security on any other email or instant messaging application. Visit secure.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
Welcome back. Walmart is expanding its incentive program for workers who want to go to college. The company will now pay full tuition costs for staffers attending 10 academic partner schools. The University of Arizona and Southern New Hampshire University are among the partners. Workers in the program were previously charged $1 a day fee to have tuition covered. Walmart says it's now dropping that fee and will also cover the cost of books. Both part-time and full-time employees are eligible for the program, and about 28,000 Walmart workers participate in it. And McCormick & Company is recalling 3 seasonings for possible salmonella contamination. The products were shipped to 32 states as well as Bermuda and Canada between June 20th and July 21st. There are McCormick Perfect Pinch Italian Seasoning, McCormick Culinary Italian Seasoning, and Frank's Red Hot Buffalo Ranch Seasoning. Kroger, Target, Walmart are among the stores that sold them. McCormick says it doesn't know if anyone getting sick from the products. Consumers are asked to throw them away and call McCormick for a replacement or a full refund. The U.S. government has sold a valuable hip-hop album bought by former bro Martin Skrkelly. They didn't say the exact price, but did say it's enough to cover the rest of the more than $7 million he's owed after his sentencing. Skrkelly is a former pharmaceutical executive. He was widely criticized for hiking the price of a drug by more than $4,000 overnight. The drug is used to treat a potentially fatal infection. He's been serving a 7-year sentence for cheating investors into hedge funds and trying to prop up the stock price of another drug company he led. The album sold is from the American hip-hop group Wu-Tang Clan. What makes it so valuable is that it wasn't released to the public, and this is the only copy. He paid $2 million for it at auction. And as the Olympic Games continue in Tokyo, the lack of fans and tourists has created big losses for local small businesses. NTD's Andrew Thomas reports.
Few visitors have been seen in Asakusa, a popular tourist destination in Tokyo. The district was expecting thousands of Olympic fans, until authorities barred spectators. Now small businesses are taking a hit.
There were supposed to be many tourists and foreigners around in this Asakusa area during the Tokyo Olympic Games, but due to the decision of no spectators at the Games, the area itself is quiet and we are disappointed.
Yoshihisa Omai's gift shop used to be located at a prime location near a high-end shopping district, full of fashionable locals and tourists from all over the world. Due to the pandemic, he relocated his shop to a residential area popular with expats, but business still suffers due to the no spectators policy.
Our income is less than half, maybe even 10%, practically nothing compared to what we initially expected. Even when it improved a bit, the state of emergency sent it plunging again.
Sayuri Shirai, an economics professor at Keio University, said hosting the games this year will still bring benefits.
Holding the game give rise to some additional economic activity anyway. So compared to cancellation, still better than, it's better than cancellation.
The Olympic Games will end August 8th, followed by the Paralympics. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
That's the latest business updates for today. You can still catch NTD Evening News with Stephanie Cox. That's at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. For NTD Business, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
We have a new channel. Subscribe to us on YouTube at NTD News. Get the highlights of our news broadcast and the most important headlines that we curate especially for you.
Don't let YouTube decide what information you get. That's your choice. YouTube is deleting our videos and cuts you off from a source of honest reporting. Make sure you don't lose access to NTD's news content, and take a quick moment to subscribe to our newsletter so no matter what happens here, you'll keep your access to a trustworthy news source.